The art of belly dance springs from what appears to be a universal set of human body movements reacting to music. As dancers assembled these movements into what became belly dance, dancers in Tahiti took a similar set of movements and developed them into Polynesian dance. A merger of these two dances would seem a natural marriage. The resulting Bellynesian is a unique and beautiful fusion of two exotic and sensual dance styles. In this DVD, I will explain the root connections and similarities as well as the differences in each dance style, and then show you how to combine them to create a unique fusion. This DVD will provide a resource to any dancer wishing to expand their vocabulary in general, as well as to the belly dancers specifically wishing to explore new Polynesian elements to add to their own style. I hope you enjoy it as much as I have. Let's begin with our posture. Ground your feet at about hip distance apart. Keep your knees soft and your pelvis tucked and your torso lifted. Maintain your chest open and your shoulders relaxed. Take a deep breath and raise your arms over your head. Exhale and slightly bend your knees, leading with your chest and lengthening your spine. Pull in your lower belly as you roll up slowly. Keep your upper body completely relaxed and your head should be last to come up. Roll your shoulders up and back, drawing the shoulder blades down towards the center of your back. Continue a relaxed and steady breath. Interlace your fingers behind you, roll your shoulders back, and gently open your chest, looking forward and upward. Be sure to keep your pelvis tucked, avoiding an arch in your lower back. Release your fingers and extend your arms out in front of you. Press your palms outward as you contract and round out your upper back. This will give you a good stretch between the shoulder blades. Bring your palms up over your head, slightly bend your knees, sit and lean into one hip. Continue to lengthen and lift your torso to get a good stretch on the sides of your torso. To intensify this stretch, bend your knees a little deeper. Keeping your knees bent, lift one heel and press into the ball of your foot. Simultaneously alternate from one foot to the other without changing levels. Concentrate on keeping your balance and remember to keep a steady breath. Step back with one foot and press your heel into the floor, keeping your torso upright. Bend your knees as you go into a lunge position. Be sure to keep your knees aligned with your toes. And change to the other side. Keeping your arches lifted will target the outer part of your leg. Keeping your upper body aligned with your feet, slide only your hips side to side. Make sure to keep your torso lifted and your pelvis tucked, avoiding an arch in the lower back. Contracting the opposite hip will help keep your slides on a horizontal plane. Remember to keep your knees soft. To pull and release the belly, keep your knees soft and your torso lifted, and think of pulling your belly button in towards your spine while pulling your hips back and your tailbone down towards the floor. Release into a neutral position. This exercise will help strengthen your core. Avoid rounding out your upper back and caving in your shoulders. Remember to keep your chest lifted and isolated. To create a vertical 8, place your weight on your left foot and bring your right hip up, out, and down. Shifting your weight to your right foot, repeat the same motions with your left hip. Try this slowly at first. Notice how the feet shift and roll down from ball to heel. Place your hands by your chest and smooth out your figure eights. This is a very common belly dance movement, often called Maya. This can be reversed into what is a common Polynesian movement called hula. Place your weight on your left foot and take your right hip up towards your rib cage, out and down. Repeat the same sequence on the other side. Take your time to smooth it out. Another figure eight, known as varu, moves on a horizontal plane. Let's begin with a twist. Keep your upper body as still as possible and twist your hips back and forth. Now take one hip and press it into a forward diagonal and twist it back. From this position, press your hip into the other diagonal and twist it back. Take your time and remember to keep your hips relaxed and your upper body stationary. This is also a movement that can be reversed. Tamao, hip swing. Stand with your feet in a parallel position and slightly separate the big toes and keep your heels close together. Your knees should be slightly bent and your torso should be lifted and isolated. Without bouncing or swaying your upper body, alternately bend and straighten your knees as you shift your weight from foot to foot. Be sure to keep your weight over your feet and press your heels into the floor. Don't forget to keep your hips relaxed. Take it a little faster. The tamao is a very popular Tahitian dance movement. Hip bumps. Keeping the same posture, let's go through the same swinging motion as the tamao. This time we will add a contraction to sharpen the movement and give it some vigor. As you straighten your leg, add a contraction in your glute and bump your hip out as far as you can. Alternately pressing your heels into the ground will help exaggerate this movement. Don't forget to keep your upper body as still as possible. This is very common in both Polynesian and Bellydance styles. As you get comfortable with this, you can take it a little faster. Tuck, pop. Keeping your knees in a flexed position, we will go through the same motions as the pull and release in the warm-up. Only this time, add a contraction in your lower belly to give this movement a sharp tucking effect. When you release, add a contraction in your lower back to give your belly a sharp popping effect. Try to avoid overarching your lower back when releasing the belly outward. Begin by going through the motions slowly. As you get comfortable with this movement, you can pick up the pace. Just remember to keep your upper body lifted and stationary. This is very popular in many belly dance styles. Piston hips, lockdown. Lockdowns, also known as piston hips, are very similar to the hip bumps. This time, think of containing your hips so that they are moving in an up and downward motion. Alternately bend and straighten your knees while pushing one hip up towards your rib cage and the other down towards the floor. This means you will need to engage your obliques as well as add a contraction for that sharp locking effect. Remember to add the contraction on the side where the hip is rising. This will also be the side with the straightened leg. Don't forget to keep your torso lifted and as still as possible. Start slowly and remember to stay relaxed. This is also very common in belly dance styles. Shimmy, vibration. Making sure that your posture is always intact, keep your rib cage lifted, isolating your upper body. Begin by slowly moving your knees back and forth. Remember to stay relaxed. Keep your pelvis slightly tucked to avoid locking your knees. This shimmy becomes a vibration by tightening and speeding up your knee movement. It may take some time, so be patient in your practice. Once you feel comfortable with your vibration shimmy, add a layer by sliding your hips side to side. This is one of the many shimmies a belly dancer would use in a performance, especially during a drum solo. Fa'arapu. Begin by standing in your basic posture. Press your hip to the side, circle around the back and over to the other side, and tilt your pelvis through the front. Slowly work your hips around in a tight circular motion. It is important that you keep your upper body as still as possible. Remember to work through your legs, alternately bending and straightening your knees. Keep your feet grounded and continue to press your heels into the floor. To make sure that your weight is in the right place, lift your toes off the floor. Take it slow and work up to speed. Some would say that the fa'arapu is the Tahitian equivalent of the shimmy. It also takes time and practice to perfect. Ami. Going through the same motions as the fa'arapu, the ami will be a slower and bigger circular motion. Your hips should rotate outside of your center. Working through your legs is also very important for this movement. Your knees should alternately straighten and bend as you circle your hips around. This time you can take it slow. Don't forget to stay relaxed and breathe. Fa'atere. Stand in a profile position. Begin by placing your weight on the back leg and prop the other leg onto the ball of the foot. Press your hip forward, up, back, and down, as if you were drawing a circle on the wall in front of you. You can release your foot on the down motion. Keeping your knees slightly flexed, this movement should be done without changing levels and keeping your upper body still. Smooth it out, creating a circle from front to back. This movement can also be reversed. Now that we have covered the technique section, we will create short combinations which will lead to a full choreography. Keep in mind that the basic movements you have just learned can be done in place, or you can layer them with some traveling steps. There will also be variations for the arm positions. Try to make this your dance by adding your own personality, and remember to relax and have fun. Shimmies with hip slides. Hip bumps. Tamao. Hip bumps. Tamao. Fa'arapu. Let's do that one more time. hip bumps, fa'arapu, tamau, hip bumps mixed with tuck and pop. Let's try that again. Varu, Maya, piston hips, hip bumps, tamau, hip bumps, tamau. Let's work on that again. Hula, Ami, piston hips, hip bumps, tamau, hip bumps, tamau, hip bumps and tamau with arm variations. Let's try that again. Maya, piston hips, fa'arapu, fa'atere, fa'atere around, fa'arapu with a twist. Let's do that one more time. Maya, piston hips. Fa'arapu. Ami, pop tuck, Ami, and pose. Let's try that again. Cool down. Bring your chin down to your chest and slowly roll down into a forward bend. Completely relax your body and let gravity pull you down. Be sure to keep your knees soft and take a few breaths in this pose. Bend your knees and continue to press your heels towards the floor as you bring your hips down. Take your palms over your head and press upward, lengthening your spine. Hold this pose for a few breaths. Release your arms and raise your hips, returning to a forward bend. As you slowly roll up, your head should be last to come up. Focusing on your balance, bring your right ankle to your left knee. Lengthen your spine by pulling your head and your sit bones into opposite directions. Keeping your back as straight as possible, press your chest towards your ankle. This yoga posture will give you a good stretch in your hips. And change to the other side. Keeping your focus in front of you, bend your right knee and reach for your right foot. Slowly pull your foot towards your buttocks. Keep your knees close together to get a good stretch in your quadriceps. Hold this pose and breathe. Carefully release your foot and repeat on the other side. Gently tilt your head to the side and roll around. Pull your chin upward when rolling through the back. Keep your neck and your face relaxed and keep a steady breath. Pull your shoulders up and roll them backwards. Open your chest and breathe. Take one last breath, reaching your arms over your head. and exhale. Cool down. Bring your chin down to your chest and slowly roll down into a forward bend. Completely relax your body and let gravity pull you down. Be sure to keep your knees soft and take a few breaths in this pose. Bend your knees and continue to press your heels towards the floor as you bring your hips down. Take your palms over your head and press upward, lengthening your spine. Hold this pose for a few breaths. Release your arms and raise your hips, returning to a forward bend. As you slowly roll up, your head should be last to come up. Focusing on your balance, bring your right ankle to your left knee. Lengthen your spine by pulling your head and your sit bones into opposite directions. Keeping your back as straight as possible, press your chest towards your ankle. This yoga posture will give you a good stretch in your hips. And change to the other side. Keeping your focus in front of you, bend your right knee and reach for your right foot. Slowly pull your foot towards your buttocks. Keep your knees close together to get a good stretch in your quadriceps. Hold this pose and breathe. Carefully release your foot and repeat on the other side. Gently tilt your head to the side and roll around. Pull your chin upward when rolling through the back. Keep your neck and your face relaxed, and keep a steady breath. Pull your shoulders up and roll them backwards. Open your chest and breathe. Reverse. Take one last breath, reaching your arms over your head. And exhale.
hoi o more e te ramau aito te aro no te here o tō rato whenua e tō rato nuna ia whaafa whaahia e tura e te ure mai to te tau ahina e hia ai o te ui ia te hohoa e hiro a maui no tō rato whenua e tō tato nuna ia whaafa whaahia te hoa o te tuna e te here ia whaafa whaahia te hoa o te tuna e te here
So Lorenzo, you're the main choreographer for the show, right? For the Grand Ballet de Tahiti.
Right.
Well, I got to first ask, Lorenzo does not sound like a Tahitian name.
Not really.
I mean, it sounds like an Italian name. You think Lorenzo, like some great Italian chef or something.
Well,
so how did you get the name Lorenzo?
First name is Lorenzo and last name is Schmidt. So I have Italian, German, yeah, but doesn't sound really a Tahitian in fact because of the navigators who came over here and got married to the Polynesian women. They came with their culture and their own vision of the world. But because the missionaries brought a new religion, of course, they started to burn all the ancient gods and to ask everybody to stop. It was totally forbidden to celebrate anymore those gods. And so the dancing, the Tahitian dance stopped also. So that's why nowadays we have people who believe in traditions, and that's good, but what tradition is really? So when we started the Grand Ballet, our motivation, our vision was first based on respect of the tradition, and that's why we started reading and searching for the traditional steps, basic steps, but we couldn't find anything. So all we have nowadays is just souvenirs from what our parents, our grandparents used to do for dancing or remembered. Because the dancing has been forbidden for almost 200 years and appeared again in the early 80s with some little groups because of the French people. And why? Because of the French people? Because French people celebrates the 14th of July, the Bastille Day. And what Tahitian people did, it was quite smart because they said, oh, because dancing is forbidden, maybe if we dance for the French people, celebrate their Bastille Day, it's going to be kind of okay for them. And that's why they came to offer a little show, and it started like this, but they were all covered from here to the feet. With the Grand Ballet, we had that kind of respect, knowing that personally, we knew nothing about traditional way of dancing, and we created our own way of dancing to say that we just want to express ourselves. The main influence that we brought with the Grand Ballet was maybe our background, because Taiki, the artistic director, and myself were first jazz and modern jazz teachers, so we had a different technique with different basic steps, and we had also ballet classes, so we knew how to move the body differently and to use space differently, and also to create choreography. We wanted to have a different vision of not the Tahitian dance, but of organizing the Tahitian dance in a show, because we wanted to show the people from the outside of the islands. We are not those people from that old cliche. We are open to the world, and there's a lot of fusions between cultures.
Rato whenua, e tō rato nuna, ia whaawhawhaahia, e tura e te ure, mai tō te tau ahina, e hia ai o te ui, ia te hohoa, e hiro a maui, no tō rato whenua, e tō tato nuna, ia whaawhawhaahia, e hoa o te tura, e te here. Ia whaawhawhaahia, e hoa o te tura, e te here. E te here.
succeed, I think, because we now gained a lot of respect from all the people, because even though some still are still criticizing the Grand Ballet for what we do, everybody is just coming and watching the show, and they pay the ticket because they want to see something new, because they understood that we are not transforming, we are just, this is just a different way to express life. You're gonna notice here that all the musicians, they never studied music. All they do is just play music with their ear, because they hear something, or maybe like me, they have music in mind, and then they try to play it. But there's a connection, of course. You have to be in tune with the dancers, and sometimes when the musicians are playing too fast, it's very impossible for the girls to, or even the boys, to follow them, because the hips cannot move anymore. But we try with Les Grands Ballets to have a kind of harmony with boys and girls and musicians. It's like a family, and what someone does in the show is very important for the other one. Being more and more creative, participate to the promotion of the islands and the Tahitian culture, of course, make people know better the Tahitian dance, not to stay only on that old fashioned cliche of the Tahitian vahine, Tahitian woman dancing topless with her ukulele on the white sand beaches. I mean, Tahiti is not that anymore, but doesn't mean that we want to do modern jazz or ballet, or no, we just want to be ourselves. It means creative, minds opened, and still promote the islands, showing the best images and the best way we can.
Well, I'm Sonia, and we're in Tahiti. Coming here to Tahiti is just like a dream come true, and I've always seen pictures, and you know, I thought, I didn't know what to think, honestly. I'm impressed, and I think it's gorgeous here, and it's more than what I expected. I'm here to collaborate with the Grand Ballet of Tahiti. We're producing some extra bits for my new instructional Bellynesian DVD. I learned a lot in the United States, but there's nothing like coming to the land where the dance came from. It's just the real thing, you know. It's a very wonderful opportunity for me. It's a dream come true. I think that it's important to know the roots of the dance, the history. A lot of these movements are expressing a very specific message, so I'm hoping to learn as much as I can while I'm here, and learning how to use communication through my dance. Well, taking lessons with Tumata is a great opportunity. I am going to learn so much more about the dance in general, the technique and the styling and the true styling of the dance. Yorana, my name is Sonia, and we are here on the main road in Tahiti. This is one of the roads that goes all the way around the island, and just on the other side of these wall of trees here, we have Tumata, her home, her beautiful home, and this is where she teaches all of her Tahitian dance classes. Tumata is actually teaching a class right now, so let's go take a look and see what's going on inside. Welcome. So class is in session. Hey! That's Shimada and correcting her arm postures.
I was telling Sonia in the adult class she should already maybe start doing some of the basic movements with the adults, because we do a lot of basic movements. And then for the adolescent class, it'd be nice if she starts out with her costume to show them what their culture does. And then our girls are going to do a demonstration. Then she can be in the middle and she can learn a few steps with the girls.
Dance for all these lovely Tahitian ladies, and they're gonna see what I do. This will definitely add to what I'm doing now. It's just expanding my vocabulary a little bit more, and when I'm performing a Polynesian dance, I'm going to be thinking of this, and I'm going to be experiencing a lot here, and I'm going to bring all that with me onto the stage, so it's going to make my performances like even better than they were before. Well, I'd like to introduce Moena, and she's one of the principal dancers with the Grand Ballet of Tahiti. And today we're just going to be sort of comparing some of the similar movements that we have in Middle Eastern dance and Tahitian dance. In Tahitian dance, I noticed that there's a lot of movements that require a rotation of the pelvis and the hips. So, Moena, can you show us the fa'arapu? And this is just a very tight circular movement, very contained, close to the center of the body. Okay, so in Middle Eastern dances, we also have a movement that requires a rotation, not so much a tilting of the pelvis, but pressing the hips out, away from the center. So the feet and the upper body stay pretty centered, and it's just the hips revolving around. And they do use a lot of the pelvic rotation in Middle Eastern dances too. Hula? The hula, yes. this is a vertical figure eight, and she's going out and upwards. Okay, so this is a very common movement used in the Tahitian dances,
Yes.
and in Middle Eastern dance we have the reverse,
Yeah.
and this is also a vertical figure eight, but it's going the other way, so I'm going out and downward, and it is often called a Maya. Maya.
Maya.
Yes. Okay. So those are two similar movements. They're just reversed. We also have the ruru.
Yeah.
Ruru. It's a vibration shimmy, and she's also using her knees. Her knees are going back and forth, and her feet are very grounded.
Yeah.
And
But we try to not move this.
yes.
Only this.
Yes, we want to
Yeah.
isolate the upper
Yeah.
body, right? So it's very similar as in Middle Eastern dance. We have what they call an Egyptian shimmy, and you're just lifting the rib cage, and the hips are moving by the knees moving back and forth. And then you can also tense up the knees so that they're going a little bit faster, and then it becomes more of a tighter shimmy, a vibration. I noticed that in the Tahitian dances, they don't really use the upper body very much. It's completely isolated, and all of the hip work is where all the action happens. So I want to show Moena some of the movements that we use in Middle Eastern dances for the upper body. And I don't know if that's like a taboo thing in the Tahitian styles, but it's something that we do in the Middle East, and we have circular movements with the chest. Okay, so we do circles. And we can reverse that. Yeah. Yeah. I did notice that they also do undulations.
Yeah.
Yes. So she has a very amazing undulation. It's very controlled, and she's got good muscle control in there. So that's more of an isolated undulation. And then we have where it includes the whole spine, which is like a body wave. So you start with pressing the chest out, up, back, down. Yes, and it creeps all the way down, releasing the pelvis. Yeah, so all of these movements that we can do in place. We can travel. We can do it flat-footed or on the balls of the feet. So again, with the Tahitian dances, they do a lot of things that are very flat foot, you know, if it's just a side-to-side hip movement, or they also go up on the balls of the feet, and they could do the same thing by just lifting the heels. So that's another similarity.
We did the pepe.
Oh, the pepe, yes. On the pepe, she accentuates. It's the same as the fa'arapu. It's a circular pelvic movement, only she's accentuating the back. So it's lifting the tailbone up towards the middle of the back. Yeah. And that one takes a little while. Baru. That's another one that's very similar to Middle Eastern movement. In Egyptian style, the varu is with the knees straight. So Moena is doing it with the knees bent. She's bending the knees and she's pushing the hips out, so she's creating a more horizontal figure eight. And then the Middle Eastern styles, especially Egyptian, they keep the knees a little bit straighter so they don't bend so much into it, and they just keep it up here. Okay, so it's almost the same thing, only the Egyptian eight is a little flatter, and the varu has like a little dip in it, in the center. Yeah. Another thing that's really beautiful about the Tahitian styles is they also like to layer a lot of the movements. So they don't just do a fa'arapu in place. She's adding some fancy footwork to this with a figure eight, a horizontal figure eight. Nice. So she's up on the balls of the feet, and one is slightly in front of the other. And push to the left, pushing to the left.
To the right. Yeah, that's it.
And the key I've noticed to the Tahitian style is to really make it big. It's very external, as opposed to Middle Eastern styles is very internal. In the Tahitian styles, they have these locking movements where they lock to the side, to the, what is it? Side, back, side, front.
Yeah.
So through the legs, she's creating this movement by alternately straightening and bending the knees. And she's pressing her hips to the side, to the side, back, side, and then pushing the hips forward. So that is a box step, and in the Middle Eastern styles we also have a similar movement, a little more contained in the center. So we push out, pop the belly out. So it's more of a locking motion than to the other side and tuck. So it's got a more aggressive look to it, like it's got a little punch to it. So lock, 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 lock. We have plenty of movements that are very similar, and Moena, I've shown her some of the belly dance movements, and she just picks them up so quickly, and she's just a natural, beautiful dancer. And I want to thank her for sharing everything with us, everything that she knows. And so now that we've talked about some of the similarities and differences in our movements, we're going to play a track by Isam. He's our percussionist in our show, and I'm going to show Moena how the movements in relationship to the music, how you can place them within a drum solo. Okay, so I just demonstrated to Moena some of the movements that we do in Middle Eastern style, how we layer, some of the similar movements that we talked about earlier. Now she's going to perform a little bit for me with the Tahitian otea, which is just strictly percussion, all the drums, and I'm going to try to follow along with her. So go easy on me. Okay? also here to teach a belly dance workshop. It's exciting. I'm excited to be teaching, and there's going to be company members of the Grand Ballet of Tahiti coming to my workshop, and I'm just excited to share what I know with them. I just finished my first workshop in Tahiti, and there was a great turnout. Bye! And the girls were just wonderful. It seemed like everyone was really enjoying the concept of belly dance. Well, I heard that Tumata is the costume designer for the Grand Ballet of Tahiti, and I've seen photographs of all the costumes, and I think she does beautiful work, and I want to share with her a little bit of what I do, and maybe we can collaborate on a new design and come up with something unique and special for the show.
We're talking about some ideas for the costuming for the new Polynesian piece in the show, in the Bellydance Superstar show, and we asked Tumata if she would be able to design something for us, and we're just talking about some ideas and colors and style, design.
Okay, well, here we are in Le Marché in Papeete, and just getting a little shopping done. He just makes me want to dance. We just finished up a press interview, and I did a short performance, and I happened to be asked by the choreographer of the Grand Ballet to perform on Friday evening, so I'll be performing on Friday with the company. I don't know what to say. I was flattered. I was just like, I'm still in shock. I can't believe that I'm here, first of all, and to be asked by, you know, the choreographer of the Grand Ballet to perform with them on Friday is just like a dream come true. So I'm speechless. I don't know what else to say.
Bellydance Superstar, mesdames, messieurs, Sonia.
Welcome, Sonia.
Maruru, Sonia, under the moon of Tahiti.
Well, my trip in Tahiti has been a wonderful experience. Everyone has just been really friendly, and I couldn't ask for anything more. It's just been so much fun, and even though we've just been going the whole time, it's been really great. I've learned a lot about the people here, that they're very warm and friendly, and the dance and the culture. Well, my main reason was to share the art of Middle Eastern dance, and also to learn the art of the Polynesian dances. And through the classes that I've taken with Tumata, and you know, sharing and comparing movements with Moena, we've done exactly that. Just, you know, learning about each other's dances. I'm just so happy to have been here, and I'm kind of sad that we have to go home now, but we got to do what we got to do and go back home and work, and hopefully we'll get to come back and hang out with the gang again, and do a lot more with a lot more of the people that we get to work with back home, and hopefully they'll get to come out and experience the same things that I did.
Awera o,